failed 6 pool in game number 1. Over here in the north, in the red, he is
KT roster stats.
Stare deeply into his eyes.
Over here in the west, he is
SK Telecom T1 Soulkey.
I wonder if we'll see an immortal type push here because you know, it's kind of hard to stop in the little thin areas.
Yeah, there's a lot of valleys on this.
It's yeah, there's like so many like little thin areas you can walk through on the high ground that force fields are way more powerful. Really hard to engage it with roachling if you do it like an immortal type push.
Oh, from Austria, welcome.
Oh, look at you and your 2 coins.
He's going to take all the coins now.
Did I tell you? Did I tell you that this is how you get coins? This is... I mean, all you got to do, you stroke my ego a little bit, 2 coins, 2 GSL coins. You can go turn that sign in at your leisure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we do have Zerg doing a very different build here. Hatch first.
You know, the Korean commentators are going to be like, why does everyone think Dan is so handsome? He's really not that good.
Maybe it's just me. I just don't. I mean, I think he's not bad looking, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's...
What, is that really? Like, maybe it's a cultural thing? I don't get it.
It's the nose.
It's that nose, man.
Yeah. Well, it's a hatch first and a gas and pool.
I think it's your doe eyes, personally, Artosis.
My doe eyes?
Those doe eyes ears.
Glad my eyes aren't any darker. I'd look like a fish.
Well, we have Extractor taken.
Yeah, he's going to be getting quick speed here once again. So, cool to see. I love these aggressive openings out of Soulkey. You know, that's something that shows he's such a good Zerg, because for so long he was, like, just very much more macro-oriented. Always mixing in cheese, of course, as well, but something that we've been talking about a lot, and I think some other people have as well within the StarCraft II community, is the fact that, especially after efforts play, are we going to see more of these aggressive speedling openings that just go right into macro games? Because if you're really good with them, they're going to work.
Well,
like, they're going to do
they're
something.
a lot better now because the Protoss fast expanding builds have more diversity. Protoss have really figured out how to fast expand, but a lot of these other builds can die much more easily than the traditional Forge expand.
Yeah.
They can die much more easily to mass links because the wall-in for the Protoss gets up a little bit later. We have a lot more maps where the second base there's a big berth for the links can get a lot in. So I think we're probably going to see more and more of it.
Yeah, I think you're right, Tasteless. All right, so we'll see how many lings he actually chooses to make, because I think he has about 4 right now. Yeah, 4. And, of course, he's popping out some queens, still getting drones as well. Don't know how heavily he'll really commit to lings this time. Stats, I don't think would really take damage. Yeah, he's even getting a sentry right now. His mothership core is going to be popping out. But these might be changes that he has to make here.
You can see
realizing that,
second,
yeah,
he thought he was going to go for that probe.
You know, I think that the speed of this mothership core and the fact that he's getting a quick sentry as well, I think both these are because of how Soulkey played the first set. So Stats is like, uh-oh, you know, he can get speed and make 20 lings. Like, I've seen this today. This is something he's willing to do. So, yeah, it looks actually like from Stats, I really like the way Stats is playing today, I gotta say, Tasteless. It looks like from Stats, we'll probably see +1, we'll probably see a bunch of sentries, and a third base just off of gateway units. And I think that that is a fantastic choice for the map and the situation of the quick Zergling speed upgrade.
Man, you can really see throughout this entire day today, Stats has been adapting so well.
He has been.
I can't believe this Ling is still alive. We do have 4 more Lings about to pop out, +1 attack starting. And Zerg just droning up as much as possible. This is a huge map, by the way. So, but actually, you know, when these spawns, I guess it's actually not as easy for Zerg to get a 4th as it is on some other maps. Protoss can kind of push over there.
Yeah, I mean, if they go up and around, they definitely have a good area to push through.
Well, I guess I was thinking of when you look at, like, for instance, how many narrow ramps there are in valleys and stuff, I guess it's a little bit trickier to hold.
Yeah, for sure. You're right.
Let's see, though. We do have a Roach Warren coming.
That's right, and I do like the location, of course, of Soulkey's third. You know, if you take the third that Protosses normally like to take, which would be the one for stats on the right side here, right below his natural, that's one that force fields are like godly, and like 2 force fields clog everything. But this one has more ramps, more ways to get up and in, and easier for him to, you know, get around that. So
the Twilight Council about halfway done.
Yeah, and this is kind of exactly what you would think you'd be seeing here. He should be going into +2 blink. He's got a good amount of sentries. He's got a good ground force right now. A nice quick third base. I'm liking this, Tasteless. I think there's some fantastic play going on.
I'm wondering if, you know, Soulkey loses the series, how much he's going to be beating himself up over using that strategy in Game 1.
Well,
I also wonder what how that went in practice when he was doing a strat like that. I wonder if if he actually already knew once he saw that the guy went for the gate like that the strategy might not work, or if he was as surprised as maybe a lot of our viewers were when the probes actually held off all the lings and the drones attacking in the mineral nook.
Yeah,
because you know, when you get on these pro teams, there's such a little meta game, like a little microcosm meta game going on in the practice houses. I'm wondering if all the Protosses that Soulkey tried that against in the training house just said, oh, that just beats it. You can't stop that.
They may have. It's definitely a possibility, but Stats very quick on his feet there. But the thing is about Soulkey, I don't think he'll regret it like you were saying, because
think so?
Soulkey I look at as an actual champion. Like, this guy is in StarCraft for the long term. He's a complete Zerg. He can do great cheeses. He can do fantastic macro play. He's someone that has won tournaments in the past, and I think will win tournaments again in the future. I think that he's a guy that's not really phased. He realizes that he should, as a top-end Zerg, mix builds like that in, and those are percentage builds. You know, you can't just force them to win. Sometimes they are just going to lose, and it's out of your power. And I think he's okay with stuff like that.
We have the 4th hatch nearly completed now. Lots of Hydra Ling Roach being cranked out here for Soulkey. And I guess we're just going to have to wait and see when he's actually going to push out here. Stats is, since he's getting the robotics bay, it's probably going to be a little while.
Really, you know,
really passive game here from these two.
I wonder how heavily he's actually going to commit here. Okay, yeah, he's getting a pretty quick hive as well, so that's actually very good to see from Soulkey, because if he weren't doing that, like, with the build that Stats has chosen, I would definitely give him an edge, right? He's got the +2 Blink Stalkers, he's got a lot of sentries, and he's standing in areas that are going to be very hard to actually engage with this type of army. But as soon as you mix Vipers into this, everything's going to change. The Vipers are going to be able to throw down blinding clouds in these areas where you thought that the thin area is good for Stalkers. Oh, not anymore, because they can't fire under that. And of course, any Colossus that comes out, he can yank in. I really like the speed of these Vipers. This is going to be great.
I think it's a super smart move. He can harpoon them much more easily as well. And this is really taking the terrain that Protoss would probably find normally advantageous and turning it against him. So we have that first Colossus about to pop out. Zerg at 150 supply to Protoss is 120.
Yeah, he's got a nice supply boost there. Those Vipers are on the way. Still going to be a little bit before he gets there. Of course, they have to build, and then he has to suck up some energy and then send them across the map. So it's a little bit to the engagement.
He's got probably more than enough time, though. With Thermal Lance starting in Zelt legs, I don't think Protoss is going to push out and commit. And you can see he's moving out here and just trying to clear up this area, but he's not going to go all the way across the map.
Exactly. He's like sharking around right now. To take a turn from in control, of course.
He's sharking around right now?
Yeah, yeah. To bring your Protoss army out that's not ready to attack and kind of move around the center of the map, that's sharking around. You're moving around, you're like, duh.
Yeah, you're kind of going back and forth.
Then,
if you stop moving, you die like a shark.
Yeah, and then you're like, duh.
Yeah.
But it never goes because you don't actually chase them down. You just it's just duh. Kill creep tumor, duh. Oh, a roach that position, duh.
Yeah. There we go. Another word that's almost as good as pulling the boys here.
You're so critical. You're like my mother. All right. That is all right. Let's take a look at these actual armies that we have right now. Right, he's got a couple Colossi.
No!
He's
actually going to get some of those sentries right there in the front.
Oh, he has tempos, and he pulls one first. Nice move there by Soulkey. Can he pull the other one?
How many more force fields does this Protoss have? He's been bunched up into this corner. Wow, force field much. This is crazy. He's still been doing so much damage. Unfortunately, that one Colossus, it was not
Wow.
picked off. It's
so low.
I'm
Oh
surprised
my
he didn't
God.
actually dart in there and just try to kill it.
Yeah, it looks like he just barely
is
wasn't
he just
able
gonna
to.
keep? All right, there he goes.
Okay, he finally does kill it, but that Colossus made a gigantic difference.
Yeah.
He will end up holding this. That was a lot of damage, though, when you think about it, right? He still has his 2 Vipers. He still has a good chunk of Hydras. He lost all Colossus and the Sentries. So that was a huge amount of gas that Stats no longer has and has to replace unless he wants to stay on pure Stalker, which, you know, that's a desperate move.
I think the next attack can actually end the game, Artosis.
It might be able to with no sentries. How are you supposed to hold on?
The damage output from this is so incredibly high. He's also going into Swarm Host. I'm a little bit caught off guard by him going into Swarm Host with this.
I think he thinks the same as you, that this next attack is going to be a nail in the coffin type move, whether Stats leaves the game or not. Like maybe he can, you know, if he picks off like one more Colossus, it's pretty crazy.
He's still getting up there. Yeah, I'm just confused that he would get any Swarm Hosts while this is going on. I think you're just supposed to keep remaking. I don't know, though. Blinding Cloud there.
Ooh, that's a good Blinding Cloud indeed.
And you can see he's keeping the Vipers ready when he's going to need to harpoon that Colossus.
Yeah, any Colossus he can pull right now is gigantic.
Oh! Really
nicely done. Sidestorm as well, and suddenly Soulkey is not looking like he's actually going to be able to do any damage. That was some great defense from Stats. The fact that he had Colossus on both sides, the fact that he had Sidestorm, that he got out so quickly here, very, very nice. And now Soulkey has to rely on these Storm Hosts because you can't stay with Roach Hydra forever.
Do you think he's actually going to be active with the Swarm Host, or is he just going to sit back? Okay, I guess he is. He's got him in the middle of the map now.
I would name Soulkey as the most active Storm Host user. This guy moves him around more than pretty much any other Zerg.
Well, he's got this small army over here that can counterattack, although it was spotted now. And this is going to just get worse, I think, for Protoss. Bottom left being occupied now by the Zerg.
You know, I would say the fact that he has Colossus and Psystorm, he's going to be able to take another base, which is really important because he needs 4-base economy, and he's getting a Stargate. So I wonder if he's going to go into Void Ray Colossus. Definitely something that we've seen from Stats a lot in the past, something he's very comfortable with. And, oh, he's actually getting the Fleet Beacon, so it looks like he actually wants to go into Tempest. So he's going to be going for the extreme long game. Oh.
Damn.
Wow, that was brutal.
Ouch.
That was brutal, Tasteless.
So for the time being, Stats is actually smashing out these little Zerg armies. They could be used to counterattack. But I got to say, Soulkey's been doing a good job of transitioning into the next late-game tech here.
Yeah.
Keeping that those small armies active so that the Protoss is busy. And actually, hold on a second. Is he going to get this hatch?
Yeah,
I think he 100% is going to get it now. We don't even see anything moving down there to try to save it.
And that's going to make the 4th base quicker than the 5th base for Soulkey, which is exactly what Stats wants. He's actually doing a very good job pushing him back.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about it. I want to make fun of you more for pulling the boys, actually. I'm thinking about, like, now that we've basically said, we talked about this enough, is that, because you know when you lose to an all-SCV pull or pulling the boys, you know it's a very frustrating moment. But I can just I'm imagining right now a nerd angry at his PC as he sees the SCVs coming, being like, that punk nerd just pulled the effing boys on me. Like,
glad that you like it so much.
Yeah.
I did too. Oh, he's actually getting Void Rays. Oh, look at this. He's doing all sorts of stuff with this Fleet Beacon, right? He's getting a range, actually, just in case of a Mutalisk switch, which is kind of smart. You know, when you're going for one of these giant death balls and your opponent doesn't have too many Storm Hosts, sometimes they do switch right into a whole hell of a lot of Mutalisks.
Soulkey might be in some trouble here, Artosis.
Yeah.
This Hive is going to go down. Although not much of the critical tech with that. All of a sudden, Stats is everywhere.
Yeah.
What just happened? In like 2 seconds, Stats' army is all over the map, killing everything.
Well, you know what? He's really abusing the fact that Soulkey is very immobile at the moment. He really doesn't have a good standing army. He had put a lot of money into Corruptors and a lot of money into Swarm Hosts, and those are 2 units that don't really stop this type of harassment very well.
Really punishing the Zerg for going a tech route that, it has no mobility, as you were saying.
Well, it looks like he will end up cleaning this one up, but he did lose his Hive, which is a gigantic deal. A lot of Voiders are being made during this as well. Anytime you see these Locusts come back, that's time that's been purchased by Soulkey via this harassment to actually get the types of units out he needs to counter his opponent.
Supply for both sides is pretty even so far. We have the Void Rays now coming out here. I really like how Stats has handled all this.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's really smart. Okay, here we go. What's that unit? I've never seen that before. We have the Mothership coming out now.
Yeah. It can be quite nice, especially with the Void Rays mixed in here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't see those Void Rays for like 1 second. Oh,
So
man.
much damage is dealt.
This army is just like insanity. And he is doing the Mutalisk switch, so, you know, it really pays off that that Stats actually got the Enion Pulse Crystals.
He actually might just be able to push through the Locusts. He might just eat those Locusts, man.
Yeah. Well, especially when it's cloaked. If they don't see you, they don't hurt
just,
you.
Yeah, they just die. Okay, but this is a cool switch here from Soulkey, as we were talking about earlier. Protoss gets that Death Ball. Sometimes a Muta switch can just completely wreck him.
Well, here we go. He's actually going after these Stargates immediately. Anything that pops out of the Corruptors will kill in a matter of seconds. So, you know what? That range on the Phoenix is not going to do very good if he has no Phoenixes.
He's losing the Stargates, and there's an attack over here in the bottom right. We see the very slow-moving Protoss Air Army coming up here to try to contest this.
And when it gets there, Archons plus Void Rays equals dead Corruptors, so he does have to run.
We've actually had it's been really interesting to see the tech get deeper and deeper here for both sides. And this is, okay, now this is a smart move here from Soulkey, but it's also a little bit risky. If he loses those Swarm Hosts, he's got to be really careful.
You're very right about that. If he can possibly take those out, it's fantastic. But you know what? Soulkey may just move them back right away as well.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he catches one of those Colossus off guard.
Now, as you can see, he's moving back and forth with the Corruptors and the Mutas. They're a little bit quicker than the Void Rays and Archons. Definitely quicker than the Mothership Core.
Let's not forget that through this, Soulkey's only on 3 bases, so his bank isn't the giant bank you would normally see when someone's flying around harassing you like this.
That's a really good observation. If you don't notice that, then what's really most important is its stats. If he just stays alive, is fine.
Yeah,
if he just does not die here, he's going to win the game. Soulkey has to do some serious damage.
And he's added a ton of Stargates. Look at this, 5 Phoenixes at a time. And this is actually how he's going to be able to win this game, is he's going to get a decent number of these Phoenixes with some upgrades, and with that range upgrade especially, and he's going to be able to fly them around and just pick off every Mutalisk and Corruptor. This is definitely going to turn into a stats victory here.
Unfortunately, when Soulkey went for the counter aggression here to try to kill off stats, he did not solve anything going on back at home. I mean, the Zerg base is actually still in shambles. The Zerg doesn't even have his starting location occupied.
Yeah. Well, Soulkey just doesn't actually have anything. Everything he has is completely countered by this composition. Like, these Phoenixes alone could actually kill everything.
And once they do kill everything, then all the Overlords are going to get killed off. This Death Ball can't be stopped. Let's see, though. Let's see. I mean, maybe with a really brilliant play here, Soulkey will actually whittle this army down, and this game will start to balance out.
Well, I don't think so.
As I said that, I'm like, yeah, those died pretty fast.
Like, but the thing is, he doesn't even see these. The Locusts do nothing when everything's invisible. Look at this, 13 Phoenixes with range. Oh, man. And he's just going kind of for a base trade here, which actually makes the most sense of all. There's not like a lot else up to him. He can't engage this. This army's way too good. The control of stats is way too good as well.
Well, he takes out that base. This Protoss Death Ball, I think, is not going to be killed off. And this is probably just going to bring us into game number 3. I mean, I don't... Yeah. Even though the Mutas are doing a good job taking everything else out over there, eventually these two armies would have to meet each other, and Protoss would win that fight.
Well, Soulkey's still trying his best with these flyers, but just, oh man, this army never dies. Oh, that's going to take forever for him to kill all those, but he could do it.
Well, Zerg is now coming back, and again, the problem is just that if these two armies were to meet, the Protoss army and the Zerg army, the Protoss army should by all measure win. With Archons and Phoenixes like this, the Mutas can't really do that much. But I can't blame Soulkey for trying. He's now coming down here. Now notice that for both sides, oh no. GG, that's gonna...
He saw the tasteless pylon and was like, oh, if that was a control pylon, I might win this game, but no. Not going to be the case. And Stats advances to the round of 16.
Nicely done there by Stats.
Yeah, he's playing very well recently.
Yeah.
I really liked his play today. It was super solid, really intelligent. That's really all there's to say about that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Really nicely done. Soulkey looked really good in those games, but Stats looked like he just had an answer for every single thing that Soulkey was throwing at him.
Absolutely. Well, that leaves Soulkey, Byung, and Terminator left in this group. I think Terminator almost 0% to get out, unfortunately.
It's going to be between Byung here and Soulkey.
I really do hope so.
And
I really do.
We're going to be going to that losers match in just a little bit, so don't pull those boys. We'll be right back.